Hello and welcome to the daily newscast within the United Countries special by First Ukraine. You can find us at the frequencies available at our website, firsttoday.com. Taras Chechko is working for you in the studio. Thank you for joining us. For the last day, the ATO positions were fired by terrorists 7 times. These data were provided by the NSDC. They say that heavy weapons and military vehicles were not used. Instead of this, militants were firing with mortars and small arms. As a result of shelling, there were no losses among Ukrainian soldiers. About the latest news from the ATO zone in the following story.
Terrorists continue to conduct the air intelligence over the positions of Ukrainian army during the ceasefire. National Security and Defense Council reports that Russian military equipment is still supplied to Ukrainian territory. This column was fixed by video registrator in Rostov Highway. Ukrainian soldiers are strengthening their liberated positions. During the silence, ATO forces conduct the counter-diversion measures, operations against bandits on liberated territories. Starobil's district soldiers in Aidar battalion captured 3 men who pretended as soldiers from his battalion. They demanded money from local farmers and businessmen. One of farmers called the police and real Aidar battalion soldiers. Police withdrew the arsenal of weapons and fake documents from them. This video was made near Volnovakha. Soldiers from Kiev 2 battalion stopped the car and checkpoints. The driver was suspicious. His main mobile telephone that found the number of the Donetsk People Republic policeman. Do you know Konstantin Peterimov? Phoenix Company, building company. He said that his company was robbed. Do you know this person? Does they help Donetsk People Republic somehow? He's detained on checkpoints of rebellions with National Guard soldiers. He said that he doesn't know him. We are trying to clarify the situation. During the detailed check, we had found out very close connections with officials from military forces and special structures, and also the structure which supply equipment to terroristic organizations. In Mariupol, soldiers threatened the defense near the seaside. They learned how to return the attacks from the sea. Ministry of Defense said that even in difficult climate conditions, soldiers showed good results. During the last 24 hours, Donetsk airport was attacked for 3 times. All the attacks were returned, the ATO headquarters reports. At the same time, video appeared in the internet on which soldiers who defend the airport show how they live. They even do not lose their positive mood. In this most extreme toilet, we open the door, sit down and look who fire us. We do it momentarily. Last night, terrorists fired the positions of Ukrainian army near Frunze, Chornuhina and Orlovo-Ivanivka settlements. Volodymyr Karaban, Viktor Yanukovych, First Ukraine.
The trilateral contact group to resolve the situation in the Donbas is to be convened as soon as possible. This was agreed by Petro Poroshenko, Angela Merkel and François Hollande by phone. The Ukrainian president spoke about the difficult humanitarian conditions in the east. In the coming days, Kyiv will send humanitarian aid there, medicine and products. But in order to deliver it to people, the cooperation with international organizations and participation of the trilateral contact group, which includes Ukraine, Russia and the OSCE, is needed. Also, they noted, no military vehicles and troops have been withdrawn from the border, and the border has not been closed, and all the hostages have not been released yet. In addition, the leaders discussed the ways to increase financial aid to Ukraine. All the hostages who are in the captivity of militants and in the territory of Russia are to return home before Christmas. This was said by President Petro Poroshenko at the meeting with heads of security agencies. This relates to more than 600 Ukrainians. The president requires well-defined cooperation between the Security Service of Ukraine and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs regarding the release of prisoners.
The task is set in the way so that before the Christmas everyone who is in the list, and today there are more than 60 persons who must get back. And in my communication with relatives of captives, I promised that I will do everything that I am able to do for assuring their return. The certain task that I put regarding acceleration of work on searching those people who are missed.
Airports of Kharkiv, Dnepropetrovsk and Zaporizhia are still closed. They do not work because of a security risk. Defense Ministry spokeswoman Viktor Yanukovych explained at the briefing. According to the law on combating terrorism, the situation is under control of the Security Service of Ukraine. We contacted the Security Service, but there are no comments on their behalf, given the privacy of information.
We don't have any other information except the fact that these airports were closed, complemented by the questions of the security. Furthermore, I can add that according to the law of Ukraine about the fighting against terrorism, the Security Service of Ukraine is responsible for the direction of its work.
Minsk meeting regarding resolvement of the situation in the Donbas, which did not take place last week, can be this week. This was said by Deputy Head of the Presidential Administration, Valery Chaly. The deadline of negotiations is unknown. To speed up the meeting, additional negotiations may be necessary, in particular with Putin, as Valery Chaly said.
I think that the following days literally nearest additional international negotiations, including the negotiations with the President of the Russian Federation, in order to Russia was more active in this regard. The possibility of negotiations will depend on this political decision.
The Ukrainian problem is again among the issues discussed at the monthly meeting of foreign ministers of the European Union. It has already ended in Brussels. In the morning, the European diplomats talked about how to stop the war in Syria and the role of the Europeans in the Iraq campaign. After lunch, the ministers focused on the Eastern Europe, Balkan countries and Ukraine. Most diplomats are not satisfied with how the agreement is being observed. Last week, the media reported that the EU was preparing a new round of sanctions against the current government of Crimea and Russia. But at today's meeting, they did not discuss these issues.
I have just got back from Ukraine, and the situation there is really difficult. I can't say that Minsk agreements are fulfilled. At the same time, I emphasize that we shouldn't keep trying to ensure their implementation. Minsk agreements is a unique document which was signed by the parties.
Frankly speaking, ceasefire also not working. I would remind one issue what you will remember also quite well, when we all reacted, when first so-called humanitarian convoy was sent to Ukraine without control, without checking. Now it's number 10 prepared. So it's becoming business as usual. I believe it shouldn't be business and shouldn't be as usual.
After the ministerial meeting in Brussels, the meeting of the EU-Ukraine Association Council started. The Ukrainian delegation was headed by Prime Minister Arseniy Yatsenyuk, the European one by High Representative for Foreign Affairs Federica Mogherini. The press conference was scheduled for 8 p.m. as of Kiev time. The Ukrainian film Tribe won the European Oscar. The movie by Miroslav Slaboshpytsky won the prize in the category Discovery of the Year from the European Film Academy. The ceremony took place yesterday in the Latvian capital. Receiving the award in Riga, Miroslav Slaboshpytsky said that he dedicated his victory to Ukrainian director that is a prisoner in Russia, Oleg Sentsov. Tribe is a dramatic story of first love at a boarding school for the deaf. Deaf amateur actors played in the film. They communicated with sign language. In the film, there are no subtitles and voice-over. Let me recall, in May, Tribe won Grand Prix at the Cannes Film Festival in the parallel competition program Week of Criticism. And in September, at the Milan International Film Festival, the film was recognized as the Best Fiction Work of the Year. It was the United Country newscast by First Ukraine. You can find more details at our website, firsttoday.com. Taras Chechko was working for you in the studio. We wish you only good news. Take care and goodbye.